Hi YouTube, what's going on over there? This is not some kid from Pop Culture Den, where we review movies, comic books, everything that is pop culture. And today we're going to talk about Thor in the Avengers Endgame movie. Yeah, that movie was a little bit controversial with the character of Thor because some people liked it, some people didn't like it. But be warned that this video is going to contain some spoilers from Avengers Endgame. So if you haven't watched it, click away right now. Uh, what's going on with you? Why haven't you watched it? Go away, go watch it right now, and then come back and watch this thing because it's going to get interesting. So first of all, in Thor's situation, we see him at the end of Infinity War using Stormbreaker to destroy Thanos, and he uses it to overpower the Infinity Stones, all six of them, and hit Thanos right on the chest. Thanos says, "You should have aimed for the head," and then that leaves Thor in a state of regret. He is remorseful and he's also angry that he did not kill this megalomaniac. So then, when he has the chance at the beginning of Endgame to destroy Thanos, he actually goes for the head, but he feels like it's too late because the stones have been destroyed, and that leads to him falling down into a spiral of depression and degradation to a certain extent because he um, falls physically and also mentally speaking. So when Hulk and Rocket Raccoon go for him in New Asgard, which happens to be in Norway, they find a quite different Thor. Now, many people have talked about this, and many people have complained also about it. I found it quite hilarious, that Thor, when they go for him, that's the funny thing. When they go for him, he is in a deplorable state. He's all fat. He has this big beer belly, and he's eating junk food. He's eating guacamole. I have to be honest. At the beginning of the movie, when that part just when we got to that part, I couldn't stop laughing. It was really fun. It was really, really fun. The drawback of that is they got into joking about it so much that at some point, to me at least, the joke grew old very quick. And that's something that I see as a disadvantage because, sure enough, yeah, you can have Thor be mocked for a while, but not throughout the entire movie. Everyone mocks him at one point or another. So then that's that. I suppose that's why people say like, "Oh no, you're body shaming this character, you're fat shaming this character." I didn't want to see it that way. I don't see it that way. First of all, because I already told you that it was funny, but second of all, because there's something more to the character than just that, and that's what I want to talk about, and that is the tragedy of Thor, what I call the tragedy of Thor. And Captain Midnight, who is a YouTuber right here, who comments on comic books, movies, something like, already stated in a video, quite a good video, that you should go check out how good that transformation actually was. I partially agree because I'm going to explain it right now. I believe that Thor being down, being depressed, but also angry and feeling anxious and feeling maybe even fearful, because he didn't defeat Thanos. I think that it's an interesting take on the character, and it reminds me to a certain point to the early Marvel comic books, back in 1961 when the Fantastic Four were released, we had the character of the Thing, this big rock-like character, suffering and feeling sad for himself and his condition because he didn't look anything like a normal human being. So then, while the other ones could pass along as regular Joes and Janes when they were out and about, the Thing had to hide and conceal his physique because he was all, not really that normal. And characters like that one, like for instance, Spider-Man feeling doubtful about himself, feeling sorry for himself sometimes, even questioning his nature. The Hulk also questioning, or actually Bruce Banner, Bruce Banner feeling like, "Oh, I need to question this thing I've turned into." Those things are present in this thing that we have with Thor. This transformation that he went through. The problem is that whereas I felt in the early Marvel comic books that these were, like tragic characters that drew a lot of their drama and their tragic situations from Greek mythology and Greek stories. This tragedy that Thor is going through just serves for making more fun of him, and at some point I feel tired of it because I would have wanted to see a little bit more depth to it. I know that they say Chris Hemsworth is just really good for comedy, but I would have liked to see a little bit more of him being a little bit more serious, or taking more seriously the situation that Thor is going through, because it's actually really difficult. It's a tragedy, that he is one of the characters that just got stuck, did not move on, stayed there. Unlike Captain America, who is trying to help people, Thor in this case just could not move on. He remained where he was at the beginning of Endgame. And that tragedy is somehow averted, or gets an inspirational moment with Freya, Thor's mom, who tells him, "Hey, everyone is a failure. You are not a failure because I mean you are just like everyone else. Failing doesn't mean that you are just not worth anymore. Blah blah blah." And I like those types of conversations. That characters, superheroes especially, have with these. Figures that turn out to be like mentors, fatherly figures, stuff like that. You got something like that in 2004 with Spider Man 2. Aunt May tells Peter Parker when he has quit being Spider Man, "I believe there's a hero in all of us. She also says something along the lines of, "Sometimes being a hero means that we have to sacrifice that which we want the most because you know that we have to do what's right." Those words are quite inspirational, and they were, in my opinion, treated in a better under a better light than in this case with Thor and his mom, because I mean she's just giving him a killing inspirational speech, and then she goes with try to eat more salad, and yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I keep on laughing, but that's the intention. So then you are not to take these things seriously. Just like when you see Thor walking around throughout the second part of the movie, I don't know what seems to be a tracksuit or something like that, and a robe, and he's like my favorite robe. And I wouldn't have been surprised if he had been wearing slippers. I don't really recall if he was, but imagine him, running around, running around Asgard, trying to catch up with Rocket. Oh, mate, stop little. I forgot my slippers. I cannot walk that fast. I can't run. Something like that. And that's the thing that angers me a little. It makes me think that this is more, the perfect representation of a god for the millennials, for the new generations. And I'm sorry if anyone gets offended by this. I am also a millennial myself, but I still think that there are many examples out there of people, feeling anxious, always going through crisis. They come out of a crisis or an alleged crisis, quote unquote, alleged crisis, and then they just jump into one right away because of something minimal, because of something that doesn't really have like that big of a deal in our lives and all, and they are just like that, and that's why I say that Thor is just under the same light, because he's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and he's shaking his hands, he's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I can't do this, I can't, and then I feel sometimes, when I have to deal with people like that, and I have, I feel like rocking, I remember this, when Thor is having this panic attack in Asgard, and then Rocket is just like, "Hey, come here," and he slaps him across the face. He slaps him across the face, and he's like, "Get it together, man." I I couldn't have agreed more with Rocket. That's sometimes what I feel like doing with these people. Like why are you crying? Why are you feeling so anxious about? Why are you going through this crisis? If we can work it all out. If we work together, we can work it all out. You don't need to go all the way to feeling sorry or feeling bad for yourself. There are things that you can work out with other people, and you don't need to do it all on your own. And certainly, you don't need to feel that the world is about to end just because things are not turning out the way you want, or because in the case of Thor, you are the only survivor, or you are amongst the survivors, or you feel like you could have done better, because there's always a chance, a second opportunity for you to do things right. And I believe that that would be like a more powerful message. And I also feel like we should stop, having this cynical view, a nihilistic view of the world, that everything is going to happen and that everything is going to be impermanent. Even Thor mentions it, like the impermanency of things, that's the only constant or something like that. I believe that we should strive and we should look for and look up to people that inspire us. I believe that right now our society is in a state in which we no longer can afford to look at things the way they are, but we should try harder to look at things the way they could be. In that way, we are going to improve our lives. If we have got something to look up to, we are going to be even better. So then, if we've got this godlike person, like Thor in this movie, instead of just showing us, oh yeah, he's just like you and me, he's a millennial that is suffering and is going through pain and is going through all this sorrow. Why not having this character show us a brighter path, a path of being ourselves better, by overcoming his anxiety, by overcoming his fears, his alleged failure, all that he feels is happening to him. Then, in that way, I think that we could have a much interesting, a more interesting character than we turn out to have. At least in my opinion, because sure enough, the character has some payoff when he, goes kicking ass. During the second part of the movie in the big battle. However, you know, it. I think that uh, playing it for laughs just reduces the importance that the character could have had. At least, again, in my opinion. So, it would be an interesting take to look at Thor and say, hey, this guy is trying to come out of it on his own. This is inspirational. Just like in the way that Luke Skywalker was inspirational to people in 1977. For being just this form kid that tried to be better. We should strive to be better. So and this would have been the perfect opportunity for that. But if you play for laughs again, I think that we are reducing the importance that the character could have had. That's my thing. That's what I believe in. But if you have another opinion, of course, feel free to comment below whatever you feel. And if you liked or didn't like this video, just let us know in the comments below what you want us to talk about here. Of course, give a thumbs up, please. Share, subscribe, make sure that you still subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. We're going to be talking lots of things related to comic books, related to movies. John Wick's coming out. We just watched Pokemon, Detective Pikachu, and we're going to talk about that one. So then stay tuned, because we are coming up with greater things here at Pop Culture Den. And this was Not Some Kid, and see you next time. Bye bye.